Hare Krishna, everyone. Good morning, and thank you for joining. Thank you for the association. It's very much required and very much appreciated. So this morning, Srimad Bhagavatam class and attentive japa will make a start. Let's do a quick prayer first of all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai. So this morning we're talking about King Nabhi asking for a son. There are a lot of personalities in Srimad Bhagavatam who have asked for a son, and this is a very important comparison and a very interesting pastime. So let's make a start. So Maharaj Nabhi, he's the son of King Agnidhar from the lineage of King Priyavrat. As we know, Priyavrat was the brother of Devhuti, Kapiladeva Muni's uncle. So Maharaj Nabhi wished to have a son as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is very important. He wanted a son as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, Lord Vishnu, the master and enjoyer of all sacrifices, that's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who he wanted a son like. So Maharaj Nabhi's wife, Merudevi, who hadn't given birth to any children at that time, also worshipped Lord Vishnu along with her husband. So they're doing a yajna. So the Lord is, as we know, is very affectionate to his devotee. Therefore, when Maharaj Nabhi, who was a devotee, worshipped and offered praise to the Lord with great faith and devotion and with a pure, uncontaminated mind, superficially performing some yajna in the line of Pravargya. That's the name of the yajna they are performing. The kind Supreme Personality of Godhead, due to his affection for his devotees, appeared before King Nabhi in his unconquerable and captivating form with four hands. So in this way, to fulfill the desire of his devotee, the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifested himself in his beautiful body before his devotee. This body pleases the mind and eyes of the devotees. So Lord Vishnu appeared in front of King Nabhi in all his glory. He was very bright and he appeared to be the best of all personalities. Around the lower portion of his body, he wore a yellow silken garment. On his chest was the mark of Shri Vatsa, which always displays beauty. He carried a conch shell, lotus flower, disc, and club, and he wore a garland of forest flowers and the Kustuba gem. So that's the description of Lord Narayan or Lord Vishnu. He was beautifully decorated with a helmet, earrings, bangles, belt, pearl necklace, armlets, ankle bells, and other bodily ornaments bedecked with radiant jewels. Seeing the Lord present before them, King Nabhi and his priests and associates felt just like poor people who have suddenly attained great riches. They received the Lord and respectfully bent their heads and offered him things in worship. The priests began to offer praise to the Lord, saying, O most worshipful one, we are simply your servants, although you are in yourself pleased, out of your causeless mercy, accept a little service from us, your eternal servants. We are not actually aware of your transcendental form, but we can simply offer our respectful obeisances again and again as instructed by the Vedic literatures and authorized acharyas. Materialistic living entities are very much attracted to the mode of material nature, and therefore they are never perfect, but you are above the jurisdiction of all material conceptions. Your name, form, and qualities are all transcendental and beyond the conception of experimental knowledge. Indeed, who can conceive you in the material world? We can perceive only material names and qualities. We have no other power than to offer respectful obeisances and praise unto you, the transcendental person. The chanting of your auspicious tranquil qualities will wipe out the sins of all mankind. That is a most auspicious activity for us, and we can thus partially understand your supernatural position. So partially understand. We can never completely understand God, but we can partially understand Him. Otherwise, why would we try to understand Him if we couldn't understand Him at all? So all of life's goals and opulences are directly, self-sufficiently, unceasingly, and unlimitedly increasing in you at every moment. Indeed, you are unlimited enjoyment and blissful existence itself. As far as we are concerned, O Lord, we are always after material enjoyment. You don't need all these sacrificial arrangements, but they are meant for us so that we may be benedicted by your lordships. So all these sacrifices are performed for our fruitive results, and they are not actually needed by you. O most worshipful of all, you are the best of all benefactors, and your appearance at saintly King Nabhi's sacrificial arena is meant for our benediction. Because you have been seen by us, you have bestowed upon us the most valuable benediction. So Lord Vishnu had appeared in front of the king and the priests, and happy to give them any benediction. And the priests and Lord Nabhi, they pray to him. That's the you would say customary or the etiquette. Lord is in front of you. You first of all please him with your prayers, make him happy with your prayers, and then you ask for benediction. You can't just say, oh Lord, thank you for coming, and by the way, can you do this for us? You please him with sweet words, and you glorify the Lord, and when she's happy, and then then he will ask you himself what he can do for you. But the priests pray to the Lord, dear Lord, here is the great King Nabhi, whose ultimate goal in life is to have a son like you. Your Lordship, his position is like that of a person approaching a very rich man and begging for a little grain. So they were a little bit ashamed that the Lord had appeared in all his glory, and this is what they were asking. Maharaj Nabhi is so desirous of having a son that he's worshipping you for his son, although you can offer him any exalted position, including elevation to the heavenly planets or liberation back to Godhead. So the priests were very learned and had little ashamed that King Nabhi was performing a great sacrifice just to ask the Lord's benediction for his son. The Lord could offer him promotion to the heavenly planets or Vaikuntha planets. Although Nabhi Maharaj wanted a son like Vishnu, wanted a son like God, is also a form of sense gratification. This is a problem. So a pure devotee wants only to engage in the Lord's loving service. But Maharaj Nabhi was asking for a son. That's like he was asking sense gratification, which is not pure devotional service. The priest was certainly unhappy to have called the Supreme Lord from Vaikuntha for such were unhappy to have called him for such an insignificant reason. A pure devotee never wants to see the Lord unnecessarily. The Lord is engaged in various activities, and the pure devotee does not want to see him whimsically for his own sense gratification. The pure devotee simply depends on the Lord's mercy, and when the Lord is pleased, he can see him face to face. The Lord is unseen even by demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva. By calling on the Supreme Lord, the priests of Nabhi Maharaj proved themselves unintelligent. Nonetheless, the Lord came out of his causeless mercy. All of the priests therefore wanted to be excused by the Lord. So they were asking for forgiveness that they had wasted his time, and for such a little thing they called him all the way from Vaikuntha. So worship of the Supreme Lord is mentioned that in Bhagavad-Gita, actually Shlok 7.16, that worship of the Supreme Lord for material gain is not approved by authorities. Chaturveda bhajante mam jana sukritano Arjuna artho jigyasu artharthi jnani cha bharat shabha. O best among the Bharatas, Arjun, four kinds of pious men render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the absolute. So these are four kinds of pious people, not pure devotees. There are four kinds of pious people. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned that initiation into bhakti begins when one is in a distressed condition, or in want of money, or one is just inquisitive to understand the absolute truth. Nonetheless, people who approach the Supreme Lord in this way are not actually devotees. They are accepted as pious, sukritana, due to their inquiry about the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, not knowing the various activities and engagements of the Lord, such people unnecessarily disturb the Lord for material gain. However, the Lord is so kind that even though disturbed, he fulfills their desires. And that's what it felt like right now. The pure devotee is Anya Bilashita Shunya. He has no motive behind his worship, Shunya motives. The pure devotee is always prepared to execute the order of the Lord without personal consideration. So you try to please God, you want to please God's senses, not your own senses, then it's, then it's selfish. Then you're not a pure devotee. Pure devotee just wants to please God, not thinking about what God can do for me. The pure devotee is always prepared to execute the order of the Lord without personal consideration. The priests at the sacrifice knew very well the distinction between karma and bhakti. And because they considered themselves under the influence of karma, fruitive activity, they begged the Lord's pardon. They knew that the Lord had been invited to come for some paltry reason. Oh Lord, you perform many wonderful activities. Our only aim was to acquire a son by performing this great sacrifice. Therefore, our intelligence is not very sharp. We are not experienced in ascertaining life's goal. By inviting you to this negligible sacrifice for some material motive, we have certainly committed a great offense at your lotus feet. Therefore, O Lord of Lords, please excuse our offense because of your causeless mercy and equal mind. She Shukdev Goswami says that priests who were even worshipped by King Nabhi, now they're very highly intelligent, highly qualified priests. They were even worshipped by King Nabhi, the emperor of Bharatvarsh, offered praise in poetry and bowed down at the Lotus feet. The Lord of Lords, the ruler of the demigods, was very pleased with them, and he began to speak as follows. So now they had pleased God with their prayers. So now Vishnuji, Lord Vishnu, now starts to speak. The Supreme Personality of Godhead replied, O great sages, I am certainly very pleased with your prayers. You are all truthful. You have prayed for the benediction of a son like me for King Nabhi. But this is very difficult to obtain, since I am the Supreme Person without a second, and since no one is equal to me. Another personality like me is not possible to find. In any case, because you are all qualified Brahmins, your vibrations should not prove untrue. I consider the Brahmins who are well qualified with Brahminical qualities to be as good as my own mouth. So the Brahmanas are considered the mouth of the Lord. This is why we feed the Brahmins on festivals, and when we want some auspiciousness, we feed the Brahmins. They are considered the mouth of the Lord. So it's like feeding God Himself. Since I can't find anybody equal to me, I shall personally expand myself into a plenary portion and thus advent myself in the womb of Merudevi, the wife of Maharaj Nabhi, the son of Agnidhar. Shukdev Goswami continues that after saying this, the Lord disappeared. The wife of King Nabhi, Queen Merudevi, was sitting by the side of her husband, and consequently she could hear everything the Supreme Lord had spoken. So the Lord decided to personally exhibit the method of executing religion principles as observed by brahmacharis, sannyasis, vanaprasthas, and grihasthas engaged in rituals, and also satisfy Maharaj Nabhi's desire. So the Lord took birth in King Nabhi's house as Rishibadev, as we know, Lord Rishibadev. So consequently, then Lord Vishnu appeared as a son of Merudevi in his original spiritual form, which is above the modes of material nature. He manifested symptoms of the Supreme Lord, such as marks on the bottom of his feet, the flag, thunderbolt, etc. Rishibadev was equal to everyone and very peaceful. He could control his senses and his mind and possessing all opulence. He didn't hanker for material enjoyment. So God has come to teach religious principles in the form of Rishivadev, and he's showing all the signs and the symptoms. And so with all these attributes, Rishivadev, the son of King Nabhi now, became very powerful day after day. He became very popular with the citizens, learned Brahmins, demigods, and ministers. And they all wanted Rishivadev to be appointed ruler of the earth. He was actually Rishivadev, if I can say, in this lineage going on. So King Nabhi is the son of Maharaj Agnidhar, and Rishivadev was the father of King Bharat, which we are all very familiar with, after whose name Bharatvarsh is named. Bharat. Not Bharat of Ramchandra's brother, Lord Ram's brother, Bharat, King Bharat, that we know who came as Jad Bharat. So he was the father, Rishivadev became the father of King Bharat. And it's also mentioned that this planet was known as Ajanbha due to reign of King Nabhi. So King Nabhi was also very great king, very exalted personality. So India, or in fact the world, used to be known as Ajanbha when King Nabhi was ruling. And then it became Bharatvarsh due to King Bharat. And now it is still called Bharat, or, we have the English, India, etc., Indus River, all that kind of thing, but it's King Bharat, became Bharat, and before that it's called Ajanba. So very interesting connections there, and a very interesting pastime, calling the Lord, and then the devotees were actually ashamed, the priest, that they came to this. But so that was the situation. So I would like a quick discussion. First of all, let me just welcome you all. We have Sarveshi Mataji. This is Isha Prakash. I've got a suspicion it might be Prem Prakash Prabhu. Well, we've got Mataji as well there. Isha Mataji is there. And Hare Krishna Mataji, Jai Prabhu, Mata Sata Prabhu, Parveen Mataji, Vindavani Mataji. And I think that iPhone might be our Nitai Charan Prabhu. So welcome. And let's have a little discussion about this. And who would like to start? I think let's have Jai Prabhu. He didn't get a chance last week. Jai Prabhu, would like to make some comments or some realizations from this?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I'll just make a couple of key points. Yes, King Nabhi asked for a son that was as good as Vishnu. So, I mean, there's nobody as good as God or equivalent to God. So, God himself had to take birth as a son of Nabhi. And the other point is all these sacrifices and austerities, I mean, they were rewarded by God. But I think because they were done with a motive, it's like they were done in mode of passion. So it's not pure devotional service.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I've got to say, really.
That's fine. Thank you so much, Prabhu. You're absolutely right. Sureshi Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Well, Lord Krishna is Sachidanand. That means he's eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. And we are part and parcel of Krishna. So we want to be happy in this world as well.
Yeah.
But we seek for material pleasure and get entangled, which is temporary.
Yeah.
Like Rishi Deva in his teaching, he told his sons that you can find material happiness anywhere, in any yoni, but you must do that devotional service to Krishna. That is the goal of the life. And best thing is this, you have to, for the love of Krishna, you don't have to ask anything. You just do the service without any expectation. Well, Maharaj Nabhi, he asked for the son instead of that is material as well, because we like to have family, children, and instead of could have asked for liberation or anything else, but he did do that.
Mhm.
And so that's the point. I say, like, if you want anything from Krishna, you do the service without any expectation. But he wasn't like a proper devotee, like he loved Krishna. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked. It like says Anukalena Krishnanu Salilam Bhakti Uttam Anibhelesta Swanyam Gyan Karmadi Anabratam Anukalena Krishnanu Salilam Bhakti Uttam. That if you do your work, but without the desire of any material, without of very material desire, that is a proper bhakti. But if you want anything, it becomes material.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I say. I mean, if you do so many sacrifices, I mean, you do it for Krishna. If Krishna says do anything, do it for me, and not do it for yourself. Well, King Nabhi, he did it for himself, for his own pleasure.
Sure.
That's the thing we should.
Okay. I just lost a bit of sound there, Mataji. Are you both? Mataji, are you there? Okay. We just lost the sound with Mataji. Maybe we can have Prem Prakash Prabhu. Jai Krishna.
So, yeah, I was just thinking, like, why would a pure devotee, like, I mean, why, whether or not King Nabi, to consider him as a devotee. But I was just thinking one more thing is that Krishna says that whatever you remember and whatever you forget is something which Krishna actually uh, is behind that. So also somehow the benediction was somehow the benediction was that Krishna is going to expand himself as a Rishabh Dev. There are 2 points, and third point is whenever Krishna wants to play any leela or do some kind of his whatever he desires, he tries. He actually uh, his potencies makes the necessary arrangements so that he can manifest his desires can be manifested. So by these 3 points, I actually what my thinking is basically, I don't know whether it is still a realization, is that Krishna still wanted to manifest himself, and he as a Rishabh Dev, and obviously everything happens, but this time he inspired King Nambi to desire for a son. Although the desire was not very devotional, but still the results of the desire was a devotional, basically. So, so mercy of Lord's potency, and how how King Nabi got reserved. How was honored to to being a father of Rishabh Dev is, uh, I don't know exactly equal, but yes, I mean designation wise, he still is an abhau of parenthood with Lord Krishna. So he still would have actually achieved after that a pure devotional service as
Sure.
a parenthood.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's
So
yeah. Go on.
that's what my understanding is, and and also we received it was a history. It was a history in the entire Bharatvarsh basically, and we are still living in that history. Uh, so that's how that's how I see. And obviously, when Rishabh Dev came, then he had these pastimes as well. But with that pastime, that is my understanding, Prabhuji. Hare
Sure.
Krishna.
Sure. Thank you so much for wonderful points. Now, the thing is, the reason that King Nabhi was criticized, because it's not because he wanted a son. He was criticized because he for wanting a son like God. Now, this is the issue here. Wanting a son like God is often, I mean, even if he says he wants a son, then that would have still been sense gratification. But he wanted a son like God. That was a wrong requirement. What he should have said was he wanted God as his son, not he wants a son like God. He should have asked for God as his son. That would be different. See, he wanted some, and God said that there is no one like me, so you just have to accept me as your son. But he should have asked that in the first place. He should have said, I want God as my son, because in history, some Bhuva Manu and his wife Shatrupa, they also asked for son, but they asked God to be their son. So you don't hear about them, Sambhuva Manu and Shatrupa, and they actually came as Dashrath and Kushalya. So Dashrath and Kushalya. So this is Lord Ram's pastime going on at the moment. Dussehra coming on Sunday. So Lord Dashrath and rather King Dashrath and Maharani Kushalya, they had asked for a son, God to be their son when they were Sambhuva Manu and Shatrupa. You see, and they did a lot of penance. And when they came as Dashrath and Kushalya, they got Lord Ram. So they got God as son, and there was no criticism. So they wanted God as the son, not for their own satisfaction. They wanted God as son for everybody else's satisfaction. This is the other thing. So ask, if you want a son, then ask God to be your son and ask him to please come for the welfare of the society, of the civilization, not to please our senses. All right. So, I mean, Dashrath, Kushalya, this is how they asked. And they got Ramchandraji as their son. I mean, sorry. Does that make sense, Prabhu?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense, Guruji. But yeah, it's not. But it's just this thing like as you said earlier, that anyone who approaches for the wealth as being distressed for realization, for knowledge, and for health, basically. So they're still with benedicted. So this is a perfect. I mean, this is an instance where in Bhagavatam Ji is demonstrating that maybe that is something is there. And sorry for my wrong understanding earlier.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So there are a lot of personalities who ask for a son, but the ones who ask son for God to be their son and then come and do some welfare for society, they were actually commended for that. But anybody says, oh, I'm doing this big yagya and I'm your devotee, can you please send me a son like you, because we would love to have a son who's like you. But that's like straight sense gratification. But if you're asking God, because you could always, if you want a God just for yourself, well, then you could ask for liberation and or go to Vaikuntha planets and associate with the God up there, couldn't you? You could do that, but it's better to do that, to go back, to get, to go back to Godhead and have him, have his association up there. If you want just for yourself, but you want God for other people, so he can come and uh, just like which God did anyway when he came at Shivadev. He didn't come for their senses. He came. God has other purposes, so he came to just renew the religious principles that people tend to forget from time to time. So God knows his job. We should know ours as well. What we should be doing, because God, he knows what he has to do when he comes down, and which he does in every avatar he takes. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Rukmini Mataji, Hare Krishna.
I'm here.
Hani Mataji, any points like to make?
No, Prabhuji, it's fine. It's very very interesting. And nowadays we can't do anything of that things. Whenever you want to do the yagna sacrifice, you can contact Vishnu Bhagwan or Krishna Bhagwan, and he with this in Kali Yuga, this is all for us. It is like magic that we can't even see Krishna in olden days in that Satyuga. All kings and they were all was contact with Vishnu, Krishna, and whatever they wanted, they can ask, they can take the advice from the Purna Purushottam Bhagwan. But today, it's for me, it's a miracle, and to hear this thing, like we are very lucky that at least we can hear all these things, but we can't perform a sacrifice like that. So it's for me, it's a very, 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 very auspicious, pious. That's very wonderful. It's okay. No more, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Partha Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice class. And the point you made is very, very nice. Like he wanted God like son, not God as his son.
Yeah.
So that was not clear to me earlier. Like, but now you made it very nice, very clear, very nice. Prabhu. And the thing is, like, I mean, in reading the purport only, like Srila Prabhupada also mentioned that, like, God is in front of you. So the point we need to ask is something big, something ultimate happiness, not for the one which will again bind you to this material world only.
Absolutely good. Yeah. Yeah.
It's giving you a chance to make your desire, and you're asking for a son instead of asking for a big, which is ultimate happiness for you. Same coming back to the previous class, like Maharaj, like King Pondra. So even there also, God is so merciful that he will give you definitely whatever you ask, he will give you. There also he asked that I want to have your disc. You're not the God. I want to have your disc. Give the disc back. So God said, okay, then take the disc. But he cannot handle it. He is I mean, his head was cut because of the disc. God said, okay, take the disc then. He gave him, but he could not handle it. So when the Lord is there in front of you, ask for a thing which is sensible, not for the one, for your sensual desires.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like going to a billionaire's house and then asking for 10 pounds donation or something. If you go to a billionaire's house, you want a mega donation, wouldn't, isn't it? Going to somebody very, very big and then say, we need a donation for ISKCON, please. Can you spare 10 pounds? It's like that. It's very irrelevant. He can give you £1,000,000. He can give you 100 million pounds if he wants, So yeah, we ask for little. This is our, we are very limited in our thinking. We are just conditioned to think about material things, and at a very low level. This is the situation, and this is what happens. And we should see who we're speaking to, who is this person. What are his limitations. Don't think about, I shouldn't ask this and that, but you should see that how much what he can give. So we should take advantage of that. There's actually a story of an old woman who was very pious, and she's always thinking about God, and she was carrying this weight on her shoulders, maybe wood or something, and then it fell down, and she sincerely remembered God. Oh God, I have dropped my weight, and there's nobody around me. How can I, put this back on my shoulders now? How will I take it home? And then God appeared, and she knew it was God, and she worshipped him, prayed to him, and thanked him uh, for coming, kind of thing. And she was very pleased to see him. And then, just like the priest, she offered prayers, and God said, "What can I do for you?" She says, "I've just dropped this load, and I can't get it back on my shoulders." God says, "No problem, I will help you." And God put the weight back on her shoulders, and she went on her way. It's like that. It's like a situation, and she could ask for anything. God has come, but she was just so conditioned that she needs somebody to help her put the weight back on her shoulder, and that's what she asked for. It's like that. That you think, oh my God, this is great. God has turned up. Now he can help me with his weight, and she could have got everything, but now she didn't think about it. Oh, just that little thing which I need. the problem that I have right now, this current problem, that needs solving. Never mind the problem, my eternal problem or anything like that. This. So this is the situation. So Jai Prabhu, I think have spoken. Parveen Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Excellent class. I don't think I've got anything to add, but just to work on my devotional service, how to get
Thank
free
you.
from this material entanglement. Yes. Hare Krishna.
Absolutely. Vrindavani Mataji, would you like to add something?
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for a lovely class. I just was thinking and reflecting on Prakash Prabhu's point and everything that's been said by all the wonderful devotees this morning. And I just was thinking back to the verse from the Bhagavad-Gita where like 4 different type of people approach the Lord. And there's those people who desire something from the Lord. And what's nice is that the Lord is so kind, he's so merciful that he fulfills that desire. And then eventually they get the purification as well. So he desired a son like the Lord. And then the Lord is so merciful that the rest of his life he had the son, he had the Lord as his son. So he was able to serve the Lord in the capacity of the Father. And surely he would have been purified through that and developed deeper devotion during the rest of his lifetime. So I was just thinking about how we're so fallen, but the Lord just, he accepts us, he understands, like this lady with the wood, he understands, okay, they might be foolish, but I'll still be merciful and give my mercy and give my association to them. So that's what I wanted to add.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, brilliant. And let's just have final words from our very senior devotee, Nityanand Prabhu. Are you there? Would you like to add something, Prabhu? Okay, maybe just away from the phone. Okay, so this is the situation. Now the other thing was that the priests, I mean, they were worshipped by King Nabhi, right? So they were he saw them in a higher exalted position than himself. So they could actually have refused to do the yajna or to invite Lord Vishnu for this purpose if they wanted to, but they didn't. They decided, okay, we will do this yajna, and then they asked for forgiveness. Well, we said that they knew what they were doing, but yet they thought, well, we'll ask for forgiveness. We will please the Lord with our wonderful prayers, which they did, everything. But they decided to do the yajna anyway because they wanted to show that when Lord Vishnu said that there is no one else like me, so that they want the world to hear that as well, that Lord himself says that there's only one God and there's only me and there is no other God like me. So we all know that people invent their own gods and everything. There is only one God and nobody is like him. So if you want God, then you have to accept God as he is. He's Lord Vishnu, he's Lord Krishna. So there is no this God and that God. There's only one destination. All destinations don't lead to the same goal. Different, or rather, all destinations don't lead to the same goal. So the only goal is Lord Krishna or Lord Narayan himself. So that they wanted to show that partially as well, that there is no one like God. Only God is God. So thank you so much. Next week we will discuss. Oh yeah, very beautiful. It's in 2 parts. Lord Krishna instructing Uddhava. It's part of Uddhava. I mean, Uddhava Gita is like full-size Gita, so we can't discuss all of it. But we will discuss some part of it. We'll talk about 24 gurus that Lord Krishna tells Uddhava about. That's in the Uddhava Gita. Uddhava Gita is a supplementary to our Arjun Gita, you could say, Bhagavad-Gita. And Lord Krishna added things in there which he didn't explain to Arjun. So we put more information in there. So it's a very nice read, but we'll talk about the 24 gurus. We'll talk about 12 gurus next week. and then the other 12 the week after. It's very interesting, and there's a lot to learn from that. It's really beautiful. So I'm really looking forward to that. And this Sunday, we have His Grace Pradyumna Prabhu coming, and he's talking about how to analyze Srila Prabhupada's lectures. So that's going to be very interesting as well. So we listen to lectures, but how do we analyze them? How do we think about them? How do we extract the essence? So let's do that on this Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that. Now we'll have a couple of rounds to finish off. Do some attentive japa. Please concentrate on each mantra. And today, I think we're starting with the Rukmani Mataji. If you'd like to make a start, and if it goes off, please,
Yeah, it's I switch it on. It is on now today.
I don't know what happened last week, but yeah, this mantra is yours, Mataji. Please carry on, and then we'll have one more from Sureshi Mataji.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasni Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna